In the heart of Beijing, before the city stirs, before the traffic begins, before the first voice is raised, there's a place that remembers silence. 273 hectares of ancient cypress trees, marble paths, and sacred stone. For times the size of the Forbidden City, and yet almost empty. The Temple of Heaven was not built for crowds. It was built for one man, standing alone, speaking to the sky. In the year 1420, the Yongle Emperor completed two monuments that would define Beijing forever. One was the Forbidden City, his palace, the seat of earthly power, surrounded by walls and guards and 10,000 servants. The other was this, the Temple of Heaven, built in the same year, larger than the Forbidden City, but open to the sky. One place for a man to rule, one place for a man to bow. The oldest residents of the Temple of Heaven are not made of stone or marble. They are trees, ancient cypress trees, hundreds of them, planted when the temple was first built, more than 600 years ago. They have stood here through the reigns of 24 emperors, through fires and floods, through the fall of dynasties and the birth of a new China. They do not speak, but they remember. East of the Hall of Prayer, 8 great stones rest in the grass like sleeping mountains. 7 represent the 7 sacred peaks of Mount Tai, China's holiest mountain, where emperors had spoken to heaven for 2,000 years before this temple was built. A later emperor added an 8th stone, smaller than the rest, to represent the northeastern homeland of his own people. 8 stones, 7 for the sacred peaks of China, 1 for the homeland that was never forgotten. A map of belonging written in rock. Connecting the southern altar to the northern hall, a raised stone causeway stretches 360 meters, the length of more than 3 football fields. It was called the Sacred Way. 3 lanes ran along its length. The center was reserved for the gods alone. The emperor walked on the lane to the east, 1 step lower than heaven. Ministers and officials walked to the west, 1 step lower still. Today, visitors cross it freely, carrying umbrellas against the summer sun, their footsteps on the same stones that carried the most powerful man in the world, humbled, walking slightly below the divine. At the northern end of the Sacred Way stands the Hall of Prayer for Good Harvests, perhaps the most perfect building in China. 3 tiers of white marble rise from the ground. 3 circular roofs, tiled in deep blue, stacked toward the sky. At the very top, a golden finial catches the sun. The entire structure is 38 meters tall, and not a single metal nail holds it together. Every beam, every column, every bracket is joined by what fitted to wood, mortise and tenon. The ancient Chinese way of building, 500 pairs of hands, passing knowledge across 6 centuries. Step inside and look up. The ceiling of the Hall of Prayer is the sky itself, painted in wood and lacquer and gold. 4 great red pillars, carved with dragons, hold the inner dome. 24 more columns form 2 rings around them, 12 for the months of the year, 12 for the hours of the day. The ceiling spirals upward in rings of gold, green, and blue, narrowing toward a single golden medallion at the center, a dragon and phoenix intertwined at the still point of the turning world. No emperor sat beneath this ceiling. He knelt. South of the Hall of Prayer stands the Imperial Vault of Heaven, a smaller circular building where the sacred tablets rested between ceremonies. Surrounding it is a wall that has no corners, no beginning, no end. A perfect circle, 193 meters around. Its bricks were fired so smooth and fitted so precisely that a whisper spoken against the wall on one side travels the entire circumference and arrives, clear and whole, in a person's ear on the opposite side, 65 meters away. It was called the Echo Wall. In a place built around the idea that heaven hears every word, the walls seem to prove it. South of the Echo Wall, beyond a long walk through the cypress grove, stands the most exposed place in all of imperial China, the Circular Mound Altar. 3 tiers of white marble, rising in the open air. No walls, no roof, nothing between the man who stood here and the sky above him. The number 9 governs everything. The most sacred number in Chinese cosmology, the number of heaven. 9 stones in the innermost ring. 9 times 9 rings spreading outward. Stand at the very center of the top tier, on a single round stone called the Heart of Heaven, and speak. Your own voice returns to you, amplified, as if the sky itself were listening. Every year, on the night before the winter solstice, the emperor left the forbidden city. For 3 days he fasted. No meat, no wine, no music, no women, no death sentences signed. He moved into the fasting palace inside the temple grounds, accompanied by thousands, soldiers, musicians, ministers, priests. Yet somehow, in the ritual space between preparation and ceremony, he was already alone. Then, before dawn on the longest night of the year, in cold and darkness, he dressed in blue robes, the color of heaven, and walked to the Circular Mound Altar. There were lanterns. There was incense smoke. There was the smell of ritual fire. And there was silence. Standing on the Heart of Heaven, the emperor knelt. He kowtowed, pressing his forehead to the cold stone again and again, before tablets representing the sky, the sun, the moon, and the stars. A whole ox was burned, the smoke carrying offerings upward. And then he read the prayer, a recounting of the year, the floods, the harvests, the wars, the plagues. He spoke of his people. He asked for good rains and good harvests. He asked for peace. He did not ask for personal glory. He asked for the crops to grow. He asked for the people not to starve. The most powerful man in the world, alone in the dark before dawn, asking for rain. On the night of August 24th, 1889, lightning struck the Hall of Prayer for good harvests. The flames were seen across Beijing. By morning, the hall that had stood for 469 years was gone. The Qing dynasty, already weakened, already losing its grip on a changing world, rebuilt it within a year, using the same ancient methods, the same nail-free carpentry, importing great cedar timbers from Yunnan. They rebuilt it perfectly. 23 years later, the dynasty ended. The hall still stands. For 491 years, from 1420 to 1912, the emperor came here. Then the dynasty ended. The empire ended. The ceremonies ended. And the gates opened. The sacred way, where only gods and emperors could walk, became a path where anyone could stand. The Hall of Prayer, which no ordinary person had ever entered, became a place where children run up the marble steps. The curved wall, where whispers traveled in secret, now carries the laughter of strangers to each other's ears. The Temple of Heaven did not fall when the empire fell. It became something the empire never was, a place that belongs to everyone. The sky above it has not changed. And in the silence, between the ancient trees and the marble stones, heaven is still listening.